Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I have my wife Jessie with us, and we're going to basically talk about how God took us to Texas and all the trials and obstacles that we came across in getting there, and just the miracles God did in order to get us all the way to Texas, because it's been quite a journey, and we wanted to share that with you guys because it's undeniable that God had his hand in this, and he just did one miracle after another, it seemed like, in order to get us down here to Texas. And it started when we were in North Carolina, so we're going to talk about that today.
So, like I was telling my husband earlier, because I was thinking back of everything God has been doing, and I remember just having a feeling of starting the need to pray to move out of nowhere. And I was already, like in my second trimester of my pregnancy.
Yeah, I think you just started your second trimester.
And I felt this need to start praying for the desire to move, or what his will was for moving out of nowhere. I started praying for it, and I felt this urgency to get the house listed. And yeah, and the Lord...
You didn't even tell me you were praying about it.
No, I started praying about it like a week in advance, and then I shared it with him, and then I felt peace about it. And yeah, the Lord was like nudging me to sell our home. We had talked about waiting 2 years.
Yeah, because we wanted to wait until after she had the baby, just so it wouldn't be so
hard.
stressful and so much work with her being pregnant and traveling across country. But she felt like God was telling her that we should move. So one day she just comes up to me and she's like, "You want to move to Texas?" And I was like, "Sure." That's just how I am. I'm very like easygoing with stuff. I was like, I've always wanted to go to Texas anyway. My brother's there. I almost moved to Texas a few years ago. So we started praying about it. And we started praying about kind of the timing and if it was the right thing to do. And so we decided to take a trip to Texas to go visit my brother, but also to check out the area and kind of see what the housing market looked like. And so while we were here, we just kind of fell in love with it. We felt peace about it. And I felt like God was telling me to list our house for higher than what we originally anticipated we were going to sell it for. And I felt like he told me that he was going to bless it. And at the same time, I felt like he told me that he was going to give Jessie a house that she absolutely loved, because she had a list of things basically that she wanted in like a dream home. And so I felt like God was telling me, like, I'm going to bless your socks off. Like, I'm just going to give you guys all the desires of your heart when it comes to this process, and I'm just going to work out all the details. So that was in my heart and in my head pretty much this entire process, that God was just going to work it out. And I just had tremendous faith that regardless of what the housing market looked like, because it is crazy right now, there's bidding wars going on. It's almost impossible to get a house if you're not offering way over asking price. But I felt in my heart, I had peace, and I knew that God was just going to take care of it. So we came out to Texas, that happened, we flew back, and immediately I think we put our house on the market.
Yeah, as soon as we got back, I think a couple days after, I called a realtor. I didn't even know her. I Googled her. She was awesome. She came to the house, got the best photographer, listed the house. 4 people came through to see the house, and they were like, "We don't like this house." Like, they would leave reviews like just bashing our house, like, "We don't like the house, this and this and that."
It's priced too high.
The smallest little details they would complain about. The 5th buyer, the 5th person that didn't even view the house, they saw it in FaceTime with their realtor, put an offer on the house. The house was only listed for 4 days.
It's in 4 days.
And it was under contract. And that was mind-blowing to me, because, mind you, we had a house that was older. And never did I expect our property to increase in value that much because of the location we lived in. We lived in a very bad neighborhood. Like a block down from us. It was like bad.
Basically, the reason we wanted to move is because we wanted a better life for our kid.
Not so much material.
Yeah, it wasn't really material stuff. I've always wanted to be close to my brother, but the deciding factor was we wanted a better life for our kid.
The baby, to have a good school, neighborhood.
Yeah, good school, good neighborhood, and also more opportunities, because there wasn't a lot of job opportunities near us, as far as me. And so we moved because of that. But just to let you guys know, like, where we were living, we heard gunshots
from our bedroom. It was scary.
All the time.
It was scary.
Yeah, all the time.
Being pregnant, and he would go home or go to work by himself. I would be home alone. And it's just scary hearing gunshots like every day.
We had a couple people too we think were casing our house to break in.
Yeah.
Like they would come up and kind of look in our house and knock on the door to see if anyone's there. But as soon as they heard our dogs, and mind you, Jesse's home, we have one car, so I'd be at work and she'd be home.
By myself.
And they'd hear the dogs barking, they'd run back to the car and drive off real fast. Now one time I was home and someone was kind of looking in the house, and so I came outside and I was like, hey, like, what's going on? Like, you guys, can I help you? And they, like, drove off without looking at me really fast. Like, they were scared,
So our motive wasn't to, like, improve our lives material. Like, oh, fancier house. And it was if God wanted to bless the whole package, he would, which he did. The house we have now, thank the Lord, has everything in my checklist because I don't want to move anymore, guys. Like, I want to nest. I want to be a mom, a wife. I want to focus on my YouTube channels, and I want to, like, just serve the Lord and focus on other things rather than always like moving and upgrading. So God just blessed us so much with this new house.
There's also a shooting in my workplace.
Yeah, so
about 2 months after I moved there, 3 months after I moved there. So
and we're not bashing North Carolina. It's just the location that I had purchased before getting married. It was what I could afford. So I lived in a house that was beautiful, but it was older and it was in a bad area.
Flood zone.
So it just made sense for us to move while the market was through the roof.
Okay, so we sold our house in 4 days. Jesse started looking for a house, and at the same time, we're packing the house and like cleaning the house and getting it ready. And mind you, cleaning the house, getting it ready for all these showings was a lot of work. And there was days where I had to take off work to help her because there was just so much going on. So we're already stressed out a little bit. We're already tired. Not so much because we don't think it's going to happen, but it's just a lot of work, you know, and she's pregnant. I'm working full time. So Jesse's constantly looking for houses, and she was putting offers on houses that she didn't even really like. And I kept telling her, like, God's going to give you a house that is all the desires of your heart. Like, he's going to bless your socks off. Like, I kept coming home from work because she would have days where she was really upset. Like, oh, this offer fell through on this house. This offer fell through. And I was like, listen, that just wasn't the house that God had picked out for us. And I said, you didn't even like that house anyway. Like, you were just kind of settling for that house.
The market was so crazy. I was like, I'm just going to put offers hoping that something will land because we need to move. We already had sold our house, and we had a certain amount of time to get out.
Yeah, we had to be out by June 18th. So June 18th was the date.
So I felt like, okay, put an offer on any house that's in a good location here in Texas, close to his brother and his wife. So my sweet sister-in-law was so kind. She would drive to these properties with her realtor to send me videos of houses, and none of the house just felt right, but I was putting offers hoping to get something.
Offers kept falling through, and then eventually we found this house that we're now in, and we just loved it. It was basically everything that Jesse wanted in a house, and I felt in my heart, I was like, this is the house that we're gonna get. Like, God has told me that he's gonna give you all the desires that you want in a house, and I just felt like this was the house. So we put an offer on this house, and obviously the market's so crazy that there was all these bidding wars, and so we actually needed more money than we could afford to get this house.
We could not afford this house.
And people just started giving us money without us even asking. Like, we were getting people just saying, like, oh, I felt led from the Lord to, like, give you money. And so we were just like, wow, Lord.
From our YouTube channels, from our Christian
YouTube
friends.
channels, Christian friends, like some of my family members too. So it's just, it was awesome to see how God was providing for us, and we didn't even tell anybody like what was going on with this house. We ended up putting an offer on this house, and we would have lost the house, but our realtor took a $2,000 cut in her commission so that we could win the bidding war and get this house. So now we locked down this house. Now, the people who own this house, they wanted to be out of the house July 31st, but we needed to be out of our house June 18th, so it wasn't going to work. So not only did our realtor take $2,000 less commission so we could afford this house, but the people who lived here also worked it out in a way that they could actually be out for us on June 21st.
Which is a miracle.
Which is a miracle. So God not only gave us the money that we needed to get this house, he caused our realtor to take less commission so we could afford it, but then he also provided a way for the people to move out sooner so that the timing worked out for us. So that's the first way which God provided for us and took care of that. Now, we're packing, we're getting ready to move, everything's kind of going real well.
I'm like, yay, it's moving along.
Yeah, it's moving along. You know, it's hard because it's just a lot physically on her being pregnant. I'm going to work, and then I'm coming home and I'm helping with stuff too, so it was just a lot of work. And then we had the termite inspection and the appraisal for your house. So when you sell a house, you have to have a termite inspection and an appraisal.
When it's through a bank.
Yeah, when it's through a bank that's given the buyers a loan. So they come, everything apparently goes good.
Everything's
like
great.
The termite apparently checks out, that's all good. And then the appraisal came back. Now when the appraisal came back, it came back $13,000 under. And we needed every single penny in order to get this house.
Literally every penny.
We couldn't take anything less, basically. The realtor that we had in North Carolina knew the guy who did the appraisal on our house, and he agreed to bump up the price of our house by $10,000. So now we were only $3,000 short. So that was the first way we were just like, wow, Lord.
Yep.
Like if it was $13,000, we wouldn't have even been able to afford this house. It would have been game over. So he boosted it by $10,000 for us.
It was all God.
But we were still $3,000 short.
Yep.
We got the people who bought our house to agree to pay $1,500 out of that. So we only had to come up with $1,500. And again, like we said, God had people that just gave us money, that just provided money for us. They kind of knew what was going on out of nowhere. They were just like, hey, like, we want you to have this money. We want to help you. Like, if you're going to lose the house over this, like, here you go. And mind you, we never asked anybody for money. Not once did I ever go to anybody and ask them for money. I just prayed about it. And the crazy thing to me is there was 3 times that I prayed, I remember. And within, I would say, an hour after praying, God would provide the money. And there was one day where I was praying, and 30 seconds after I said amen, boom, money came in. I was just like, wow, Lord.
Either from our viewers or people we would know.
Yeah, people we would know, viewers. It was mind-boggling. So we just want to, again, thank you guys, because we wouldn't have been able to move, and we wouldn't have had this house without your guys' help. And it was just very Spirit-led, because not once did we ask anybody for money. It was just
faith. God
put it on your heart, and it was just out of the kindness of your heart and the obedience to Him that you guys helped us out, and our family helped us out. So
and it was
just
walking
grateful.
by faith too from our side, because we didn't know how we were going to afford everything, the truck, the utility, like installation, the everything, closing costs, like it just all came together.
So now we're coming up to our moving day, and we had a reservation with U-Haul a week prior to picking up our truck. Now, I guess the way it works is when you make a reservation, they can't guarantee a truck, which is confusing to me on why you would make a reservation when they can't guarantee it. But I get it. The truck business is hard. Things come up where you might need a truck for an extra day and then they don't have a truck available. I get it, right?
Yep.
So the day before we're supposed to move and pick up our truck, and mind you, I had been working full time up until the day that we were about to move. So the next day after I finished my last day, oh no, it was the last day of my work. And I was all stoked. I was like, oh man, you know, such a good buy. And I'm ready to go.
He was so excited.
I was so excited.
Last day of work.
That night, they canceled our reservation on us at 6:30 p.m.
Yep.
So we lost our moving truck the night before we were supposed to pick it up at like 8 a.m. in the morning. They wanted us to drive to a different state to go pick it up.
Yep.
And we had to be out of our house the following day. So it wasn't going to work. Now, we had a 20-foot truck that we had reserved, and they canceled that on us. My friend Luke calls me out of nowhere, right as this happened. He's like, hey, like I felt like God was telling me to call you, like what's going on? And I was like, wow. I was like, let me tell you what's going on. So I told him the situation.
Right in the middle of the storm, his
right
buddy
in the
out
chaos.
of nowhere is like, I feel like I should talk to you.
Yeah, so he calls me and I just tell him, and we end up praying. And he just tells me, he's like, listen man, he's like, maybe God was saving you from like a bad situation, or you got something better planned out. Like, you just never know. Like, maybe the truck you would have got might have broken down on the way there. And I'm like, you know what, you're right, man. So I was in a better mood right away. My faith is good. And I called Penske and I reserved a truck. Now, I found out later that the truck I was able to reserve was only because somebody else had canceled the reservation at 4 p.m. And I made this reservation at 7:30 p.m. So somebody canceled that reservation and I got their truck. Now, I ended up getting a bigger truck. We had a 20-foot truck originally, and we got a 26-foot truck. Yeah. Now, we got it for the same exact price.
And for an extra day.
And for an extra day.
It was God.
And for an extra day. So remember that, because it's going to be important later. So we ended up getting a bigger truck, got it for an extra day. So the next day we go pick up the truck, we're moving. Now her parents are moving too, and they're getting a house out here. So we're all moving together. So there's 4 of us, it's me and Jesse, her parents, and then 5 dogs, because we have 3 dogs, they have 2 dogs. And me and her dad basically packed their whole house, the parents' house, and then we came over to our house. and packed our house.
All in
and we were
one day.
up until like almost 2 a.m. packing both houses.
Yep.
And we're physically just at our peak. Like at our peak.
I was even helping, and I shouldn't technically be lifting because I'm high risk pregnancy after having multiple miscarriages. So I was like, Lord, is my baby gonna be okay? Because we were rushing to get out of the house for the following morning, and I felt like I had to chip in.
Yeah.
And I had a major meltdown in my room.
Yeah, she had a major meltdown.
I was like, I'm so tired. It was like 12 o'clock at night. My feet were swollen. I had rashes in between my thighs. Like I couldn't walk.
Now, the reason we were in such a rush is because the realtor told us we needed to be out by like 11 a.m. the next morning.
Because closing, and the other people were going to be moving in. The people that were buying our house were moving in.
So literally blood, sweat, and tears.
Literally.
Like crying, my hands are bleeding. It was intense. We ended up getting everything packed within the next morning, and we head out. And we're all just exhausted. Like, we slept a few hours. It was just physical labor the entire
We slept
day.
like 4 hours, if that.
And so we get on the road, and I'm like, we're going to drive at least 5-6 hours today. Like, because we got to get down to this house. Like, we're going to move into this house. And that morning, they tell us, oh, the people who are doing the loan for your buyers in North Carolina just looked at the termite report, and it turns out you guys do have termites.
In the shed, the old shed in the backyard, so not the house.
Yeah. So they canceled our closing that day. We were supposed to close on Friday, and they canceled it. And they were like, well...
I was devastated.
We're going to send someone out tomorrow to treat the termites. Yeah, to treat the termites, and maybe we'll close on Monday, but probably Tuesday. So now we're driving, and it's like, okay, well, we haven't closed on our house.
And we're driving to Texas.
But we're driving to Texas. And we got a truck full. We got 5 dogs, her parents, and we're just driving to Texas.
Tired.
We get about an hour into the drive, and we stop to go to the restroom and let the dogs out. And everyone's just tired and exhausted, and Jessie starts coughing up blood.
In the restroom of Walmart.
Yeah.
So I'm in the toilet. I used her toilet. I started like coughing up some blood. Not too much where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna die, but I was coughing up blood. And anything like that scary for a person who's been through miscarriages.
Yeah.
I was like, Lord, is this it? And I was having nosebleed. When I told him, he's like, we're gonna just stop here and rest, because we were physically tired from moving all night the previous night.
Yeah, I was like, when she told me, she came back in the car and she's like, I just coughed up blood. I was like,
it was scary.
We're stopping and we're getting a hotel right now.
I never felt so physically tired in my life. Like, I'm a tough girl. I flipped houses with my dad. I've moved at least 19 times in my whole life. But this, I felt like I hit rock bottom, physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally.
I think that could have been God too.
Telling us to stop.
Just telling us to stop and rest. Because he knew what was coming up in the next situation. But also, I think me and her dad were so tired.
And my parents are elderly. My dad's almost 65, and he just finished packing 2 moves.
After working full-time too. Like, I never took a break. I was working full-time. And my job's physical. And then we packed the truck. Yeah, so we were exhausted. I feel like God might have been saving us from like some sort of car accident.
So we stopped after 1 hour of driving. So we stayed at some motel right by Walmart, and we rested. So
just to paint the picture for you, it was an absolute nightmare this entire trip, because we have 5 dogs, and we have to go to these pet-friendly hotels, and our dogs love to bark at people. Yes. They're not the most people-friendly dogs.
Trained.
We love them, but they're not the most people-friendly dogs. No. So every hotel we got into was just a nightmare. Like every single time, just getting them in all the luggage out.
They would try to run out of the car.
Yeah, they would try and run, making sure we take them in and out to go to the bathroom, and then constantly barking.
He would be driving, and then the dog would like jump over the seat to be with him. It was just nightmare. Yeah, we put a gate in my back seat to try and stop the dogs, but they found a way to try and get over every time. So it was a nightmare situation just getting there and staying at the hotels. So we stayed there the first night. We start driving on the road the second day. And when we stopped for lunch that day, that's when it all... Yeah, now mind you, I'm still captain of the faith ship at this point. Like, my faith has not wavered, and I truly believe that faith is a gift, because I think Ephesians talks about faith being a gift of the Lord. So I feel like the Lord gave me this faith because he knew what was going to be difficult. And even the whole time before, I was like, Jesse, we're going to get this house. Like, it's going to be the perfect house you want. So my faith has just been strong this entire time. So we stopped for lunch that day. To Subway. Go ahead and tell them. So we stopped at Subway because I was, you know, hungry. We were hungry. We parked the U-Haul. I go in to order the foods for everyone because we couldn't go all inside because of the dogs. So I go in there, and all of a sudden my realtor in North Carolina just bombards me with this text saying, like, I don't think closing is gonna happen. This is the situation. And the situation was, what was the situation? I forgot.
So the people,
I forgot now. My mind.
The people who are moving out of this house in Texas, they're moving to San Diego.
Oh yeah.
And the people in San Diego basically said, we're not gonna wait until Tuesday to close. If you guys don't close on Monday, we're gonna cancel the whole like contract, because they had a buyer that was they had another buyer that was a cash buyer
in San Diego
that would have closed in 3 days for more money.
More money.
So they were hoping the deal would fall through so they could make more money.
So if this deal here of these people falls through, then our deal falls through because we wouldn't have this house.
It's a domino effect. Basically, if the people here in Texas couldn't move to San Diego, they weren't going to move, which means we didn't have a house to move into, and we're already halfway to Texas at this point.
Halfway to Texas. The deal was about to crumble.
So they told us we needed to move in, or we needed to close by Monday. And our realtor that day,
Wendy, was
told us that we're not going to close until Tuesday. Probably.
Mind you, I'm ordering food for 5 people, and my hands are shaking. I'm pregnant. It's raining outside.
It's raining. I'm taking the dogs out, trying to get them to go to the bathroom.
And I'm reading this text saying, like, this deal might fall through.
Yeah, so she calls me.
Freaking out. I'm crying. My faith, I'll be honest, guys, like, I'm going to be 100%. My faith was done.
Yeah.
Like, I had hit rock bottom. I was like, this is it. We are going to have to go back to North Carolina.
Yeah.
After driving halfway in this storm. It was storming out.
Yeah. I give it half of that to you being pregnant too, and just not feeling good in the hormones and the scariness of not knowing where you're going to land with your baby.
I felt like for a moment there, I felt like Mary when she was pregnant with Jesus. Like, she just wanted to lay her head and rest, and I didn't have that.
Yeah.
And it was just scary. So my faith was tested full on, and he was, like, again, the leader.
Yeah, so what happened was she called me and she told me what was going on, and she's freaking out, obviously. And so I get off the phone with her, and my initial reaction was to kind of panic a little bit. Right? But I went to go text my friend Luke, because he's kind of the person I talk to about what's going on. I vent to him, I tell him what's going on so he can pray for me. And I opened up my text messages from him, and I hadn't seen that he had sent me this page of a devotional. I think it was either that morning or the night before, but I hadn't seen it. And so I'm about to text him and tell him what's going on, and something told me, hey, look at this page real quick. So I start reading the page, and this is a total God thing again, where he had me look at this at the perfect time, right? And the page from the devotional is all about Peter walking on the water, and how he starts looking at the waves, and how he starts sinking, and Jesus is telling him, why did you look at the waves? You should have kept your eyes focused on me. So when I'm about to start freaking out a little bit, I start reading this devotional page, and I'm just like, of course. I was like, of course the Lord has Luke send me this, and I read it at the perfect time. I was like, I'm not going to look at the waves. I was like, God still got this. I still know what he's told me, and just these little waves don't matter, right? It doesn't change anything. God is a God.
The waves were hard.
Yeah, God's got miracles, and he can make anything happen. Like, this is nothing for him, right? This is nothing for him.
I was seeing the waves. I congratulate him for his faith, but my faith was non-existent at that point.
But again,
it was scary. Again, we didn't know if we would have to turn back to North Carolina. We didn't know if we would keep going straight to Texas. That was a moment where it's like sink or swim, have faith in the Lord or not. So I was like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, but again, I don't think it was like me being super faithful and captain of the faith ship. It was just what I felt like the Lord put in my heart. I felt like it was a gift that he gave me of faith. And it was little things like, you know, my friend sending me that devotional, me reading it at the perfect time.
Strength.
Where I was like, of course I read this at this time. Like, thank you, Lord. So
we continue going.
I try and mellow her out a little bit. I'm like, hey, God still got this. You know, I'm giving her good advice. And I'm telling her about that devotional that my friend just sent me. So we just keep driving to Texas.
Oh, sorry. Let me say something real quick. If you guys want to see like what we're talking about, our vlog channel, I vlogged those little clips of us driving to Texas and talking about we might lose the house, we might be homeless. So check our vlog channel, is Jesse and Taylor. You'll see the real life clips there.
So we're driving, and again, it's just a couple more days of driving down to Texas, stopping at hotels with all these dogs, and it's just like, it's a tough drive. It's tough physically. I know it's tough for her dad physically and for me physically, and for Jessie too. She's pregnant, you know, and it's just, it was hard. You know, we were just tired from moving and then to drive that far. It took us like 4 days. But
it's hard.
We're bleeding money. Like, we're absolutely bleeding money on this.
We put all of our money into this house.
Yeah, we put all of our money into this house. I drained my savings completely. Like, completely, to where, like, we don't really have anything left to fall back on now. And I don't even start work until this Saturday, so I don't have any paychecks coming in. So we're just bleeding money at this point.
We're trusting in God.
Now, as we're on our way to this hotel, one of the nights before we got to Texas, one of our friends, who we actually met through YouTube, texts Jessie, and she's like, hey, like, when you get this thing that I just sent you, like, call me.
I'm gonna tell you about it.
I want to tell you about this story. So we see, and she had sent us like $200.
$207.
Yeah, $207 she sent us. Now, this basically paid for our hotel that night.
Yep.
And paid for like our dinner that night.
Yeah, our food.
And so we call her and we're like, hey, like, you know, thank you so much. Like, we're so blessed by this. Like, you have no idea what we're going through right now, what's going on. And she's like, listen, like, I have the craziest story. She's like, God told me to send you guys money. Like, he had put it on my heart that said, you guys need this money and to send you this money.
I get goosebumps.
But I had no money.
She had no money.
She had no money to send us, which is the crazy thing. And so she's praying. She's like, Lord, like, I know you told me to send the money. She's like, I only have $7. Like, I don't have anything else to send them.
No money.
Her husband comes home that night, and he's like, hey, I've been saving up my tips from my job for, like, the past month.
And
he's like, do with it whatever you will. And he hands her, like, $200 in cash. And she's like, thank you, Lord. She's like, now I know where I made the money from. So she takes all this money that her husband gave her after the Lord told her to give her this money, and she sends it to us, and it helps us pay for our hotel and for our dinner.
Yeah.
Just absolutely mind-boggling, right? Like, mind-boggling. And so that's the first thing. So the day we get to Texas, we get there, and we're like 2 minutes away from our house. Now, this was on Monday?
Yeah.
So this is on Monday.
We parked by a Walmart, and there was a storm literally on top of us.
Yeah, it's raining harder than I've ever seen it. There's thunder and stuff, but we're like 3 minutes away from our house.
So we parked by a McDonald's,
like a McDonald's,
you know, and we're sitting there in this dirt little patch of grass, and we're waiting to hear what's going to happen with closing. We were, mind you, 2 miles from our home.
Yeah, so this is Monday, and this is the day that the people in San Diego said, basically, this deal needs to happen. You guys need to close or the deal's off.
Yep.
Now, that morning, our realtor texted us, and she was like, hey, like, I'm getting things moving along fast. Like, I'm calling everybody. I think we're going to be able to close today. So I'm like, of course.
She said, but the money might come in Tuesday. So, yes, we'll close on Monday, but the wire transfer that we needed to buy this house, she said most likely will come in Tuesday.
Yeah.
And that scared us because we needed the funds that Monday in order to secure this house.
Yeah, we needed it Monday. So we're sitting there literally 2 minutes from our house. The people are still living in the house. They haven't left yet. And we just don't know what to do. We're like, do we go get a hotel? Do we wait to hear? And so the wire cutoff time was 3 o'clock. When the deal closed, they could send the money. And if they got it by 3 o'clock, we could get everything going. And we could move into the house that day.
Yep.
So
we were looking at
we're just waiting.
We're waiting, praying with his parents. His dad is a pastor, footnotes on YouTube. So we're like praying over this house with his parents. I'm looking at the time. I'm like 30 minutes left, 20 minutes to receive the wire. No wire was coming in. Yeah,
it was just wild. It's like 2 o'clock and we're literally just watching the minutes count down. And mind you, I am still captain of the faith ship. Right? I'm still just like, God's going to do it before 3. It's going to be one of those last minute things where we tell everybody what happened. It's going to be amazing. Like, just wait, just wait. And so 3 o'clock rolls around and the wire transfer still hadn't gone through. Now, mind you, the deal had closed like right after 2 or something like that. So they signed the paperwork. The termite inspection got approved and everything.
Everything was done deal.
Everything was done.
But
we're just waiting for the money.
For this house was not showing up.
So 3 o'clock rolls around and I'm just like, okay, like, what's going on? And then our realtor in Texas tells us, she's like, hey, I know someone at the bank. And she's like, I can extend the time till 4. And I'm like, of course, Lord. I'm like, of course she knew somebody at the bank and they could extend it till 4. So I'm again captain of the faith ship, right? And I'm just waiting, counting down the minutes. I'm like, babe, I'm like, it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. 4 o'clock comes, and our realtor in North Carolina says, hey, the wire transfer is not gonna come through today.
Only Tuesday now.
It's gonna come through tomorrow.
In the morning.
And I'm just like...
We're like, done deal. That's it. We lost the house.
And one of the things I really learned from this is God can tell you something and you can put your own expectations on it. You can think, well, God told me that this is going to happen, it's going to be good. And then you can start to add on to those things. And you can start to add what you think is going to happen and your timing and how exactly it's going to happen. So me, I'm sitting there thinking it's going to happen before 3, last minute. God's going to do it. It's going to be mind-blowing. Oh, 4 o'clock? Okay, it's going to happen before 4. It's going to be mind-blowing. Those times come and go. And the reality sets in. I'm like, we got to go get a hotel because we're not moving in today.
But let me add something. The night before when we were in this dingy motel, I got on my knees and I prayed and I cried out to the Lord and I said, Lord, help us and give me faith and peace. So the following day, I felt peace from the Lord.
Yeah.
It was crazy, guys. Like, I was like telling him, like, this is a done deal.
Yeah.
It has to be. I got on my knees, guys, in this dingy little motel. Ugh. And I cried out to the Lord. I get goosebumps. And he gave me this peace that I can't explain. And I was like reassuring him. Like, we were bouncing back and forth off each other.
And this is one of those moments that I'm not proud of, because I had been praying that day. I said, Lord, even if the deal doesn't go through today and the like money doesn't come through today, I know whatever happens next, you're going to take care of it. And I know and I trust that your plan is perfect and your timing is perfect. But I'm telling you, as soon as 4 o'clock rolled around and I had the reality set in that we might not have this home and we might be homeless here right now, and we have to go clock into this other hotel and pay for another hotel with all these dogs, I got upset.
Yeah.
Like, I got upset for a second. I was just like, man, like, I don't understand, Lord. Like, I was so convinced that it was going to happen today and it was going to be last minute and it was going to be this awesome story. And
this amazing testimony we're going to share on YouTube.
And again, that was my expectations that I was putting on the Lord. It was what I thought the Lord was going to do, when reality, it wasn't what he had planned. Now, we go back to this hotel and
that's it. We're like defeated in a way because we're like, that's it. We're going to live now in hotels. We're broke.
We're bleeding money. We're broke.
We don't know how we're going to pay for another hotel the next day.
Yeah. So I'm paying for this hotel and I'm just like, man, like, I don't know what's going on. And I'm telling the guy at the hotel what's going on because I'm just kind of venting a little bit. I'm still in shock. I'm just like, man, I don't know what's happening now, Lord. Like, I'm a little upset. Like, I don't know what's happening. I got a pregnant wife, her elderly parents, and these 5 dogs. Like, I just feel all the weight and the responsibilities on me as a man. Yeah. You know, it's just like, I don't know what I'm going to do right now in this situation. I've never been in that situation where I'm just like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
It's scary.
It was scary.
Because he's a newlywed man, like a husband, a new father to be.
Yeah.
He's like captain of the ship, and he sees everything crumbling before his eyes.
So
it was scary, guys.
We get to the hotel, and I'm getting the rooms for her and our parents. And I'm telling the guy at the front desk, I'm like, yeah, you know, we got down here. We're supposed to move into our house, but the deal might fall through now, so we don't really know what's going on. And he's like, it's good. He's like, God's going to take care of it. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, he is. I'm like, yeah, he is going to take care of it. So I get back outside, and I'm telling Jesse, I'm still upset at this point. You know, I'm still just kind of heated because I'm just like, man, like, we shouldn't even be in this situation. It's not even our fault. And the reason it wasn't our fault is because they should have saw the termite inspection weeks before. And
they misread the termite inspection.
They misread the termite inspection. So I'm just like, we shouldn't even be in this situation.
Right, we were upset.
So now, our realtor in Texas tells us the people in San Diego will extend the contract till tomorrow, but they want you to pay an extra $700.
Yep.
And I'm just like, Lord.
We were upset, but that was God.
I was mad.
Because we didn't have any more money.
I didn't have any money. I was like, Lord, I don't have another $700 to pay these people.
They wanted $1,400, but the people here put $700.
Yeah.
We put $700, so that deal over there in San Diego wouldn't fall through.
So I'm just like, I don't have the money to pay for this.
Nope.
And I also don't have the money to keep paying for all these hotels. Someone texted me, and I told them the situation that was going on, and they sent me all the money we needed to cover the hotel and that $700. And the reason that they had that money is because someone else had given them the money the night before.
God put it in their hearts.
And they told me, they were like, now I know why someone gave us that money. Like, why God gave us that money. It was for this situation to give it to you.
Yeah.
So I'm just like devastated, right? Not because we got the deal situated and we got this money. I'm devastated because of my attitude. Yeah. I'm devastated that I got so upset, and my faith, like mind you, I was captain of the faith ship this whole time, and I just like dropped.
And we had expectation of a certain timeline with God, but God was like, no, I'm gonna push you to the limit.
It was literally to the limit.
Literally.
So
to the wire.
Now we have the money to cover it. So we stay in the hotel that night. The next morning, it continues. The next morning, they tell us that they wrote Jesse's name wrong.
In the deed.
On the deed.
They
what else?
It.
Oh, we were also short more money. They said we were short another $104.
Yeah. We had to write a personal check and take it to the title company.
So now we had to give them more money.
And what else? Oh, we couldn't find the keys to the house.
And then they lost the house keys.
It wasn't at the title company.
No,
everything was just going wrong.
Yeah, it was just one thing after another. Like, they literally lost our house keys. So it's the day we're supposed to move in, and it's my birthday.
And it's his birthday.
It's my birthday, which is so funny because we ended up moving into our house on my birthday. But it was just like, even that morning, like, it wasn't over.
It wasn't smooth.
But I was just like, Lord, like, I'm just done doubting. Like, I'm done doubting. I was just like frustrated and tired and angry, but I'm like, I'm done doubting,
But that day, I was like, babe, you're gonna have a good birthday. You're gonna have this house. Like, I kept reassuring him, and he kind of like mellowed out a little. So we were like bouncing off each other a lot.
Yeah.
So it was God.
So we ended up moving into the house that day. We had some movers to help us move.
Yep.
Because someone, again, a part of that $700 to give us a little extra money to help us pay for some movers.
Because we physically couldn't do it. We were physically, that's it.
Yeah, we were just done.
The limit.
So
we got these two young men that were so sweet to help us. It was affordable. They helped us put everything in the house, but it just seemed so surreal walking into the house. I was numb, I'll be honest. Like, when I walked into the house, I just felt like, is something gonna go wrong? Like, is this really our house?
Well,
like,
it did.
I was just like scared. I couldn't embrace the moment.
Yeah.
Because it was just struggle, waves. But the Lord has been teaching me that not everything is gonna be smooth sailing.
No.
Because there's a lot of Christians out there that say, oh, if it's from the Lord, it's gonna be blessings, it's gonna be smooth sailing. And then this reminded me, the Lord had me read this Bible verse, Psalms 34. The Lord had put in my heart on the trip to read Psalm 34 verse 19, and it says, many are the afflictions of the righteous. So the Lord doesn't say there's no afflictions for the righteous, right? It says many are the afflictions of the righteous. And this is the Bible verse, I get goosebumps, that was pushing me through. The Bible says, many are the afflictions of the righteous, but the Lord delivers him out of all of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I get goosebumps, guys, because that's exactly what happened in this trip.
Yeah.
There were so many afflictions, right? But he delivered us from all of them. He parted that Red Sea for us.
Yeah. It was really like, number one, that Peter walking on water moment for me, where I kind of sank last minute.
Yeah.
And the whole time I had been walking on the water with Jesus, and then I sank last minute.
But it's been a learning experience, and not everything from the Lord will be smooth sailing. He's going to mold us. He's going to beat us sometimes, because it's for his testimony that not everything is going to be our way. You know, it's sometimes his way. Well, it's always going to be his way, but I'm saying, like, he probably delivered us from an accident.
Yeah.
Delivered us from a smaller truck. Like, all these little things we look back on now.
Oh, yeah, thank you about the truck.
And we realized that God was, like, allowing certain things to happen for our own good, but we just didn't see it.
Yeah, so you reminded me, I forgot to talk about the truck. This is another thing that God did. So we told you guys to cancel the truck. We had the 20-foot truck, and we ended up getting the 26-foot truck. And we got it for an extra day.
Yep.
Now, we ended up needing the 26-foot truck because we used every single inch of room in that truck because it was our house and her parents' house. So we ended up needing the extra 6 feet. So God knew that. He also knew we needed it for an extra day because the closing got pushed back from Monday till Tuesday, and Tuesday was the last day we could have the truck.
Or else we would have to pay more money for the truck.
So God knew. It's like we needed a bigger truck and we needed it for an extra day. So God had us get our reservation canceled to get us this other truck for the same price.
Yeah, so our stubborn self is like, the Lord is going to do it this way, but the Lord is like, no, I know what's best for you. You're going to go through afflictions, but I'm going to have the glory at the end of the day.
Last thing too, when we got into the house, I think it was like the next day we were there, our AC unit broke. So it was just like we thought we were done with this. We thought we were done with all
hallelujah,
the
we're in
storm.
this nice new house.
We're gonna rest because we're tired.
We're gonna rest. His birthday. Hallelujah, God is good.
It's like hot. We're not used to Texas heat, and our AC breaks. And she's pregnant. It's like non-negotiable that we need our AC fixed.
Yep.
Now after all this, and I had my little downfall, I was like, I'm not doubting the Lord anymore.
No more.
Like my faith is so increased because of seeing what He's done through this whole process, and even telling it back to you guys. It's just like, man. Like, this is undeniably the Lord and how He got us here.
Yeah.
So we call an AC guy, and I'm like, listen, babe, like, no matter how much it costs, like, we'll figure it out. God's going to take care of it.
Mind you, I'm like, we're going to bleed another $500 that we don't have, but He has a credit card. We're just going to put it on there and pray to God that He blesses us.
And I try to never be in debt. I try to never pay for anything. The only reason I have a credit card is to build my credit. And so I try to never pay for anything that I don't plan on paying off that week.
But we were desperate.
We were desperate.
We call this, I call this company, right? The Lord put in my heart to a specific company because of the reviews. I was like, okay, I'm going to call. They tell me it's $69 just to look at the AC system, plus $169 to do any labor and work, plus any other expenses that might be more. So I'm like, okay, we're just going to have to do it, bite the bullet. The guy comes. He speaks Spanish. He's getting along with my dad. Yeah. He fixes the AC within like an hour or so. I'm like, I look at the guy and I'm like, what's the damage? I'm like, okay, here we go. $300 and something, right? 400, 500. He looks at us. He's like, 69. Yeah. I'm like, wait, what?
And he did a bunch of work, and he put in like 10 gallons of Freon.
He added Freon pretty much for free. He fixed the problem for free. He should have just charged us the $69. So $69, I'm like,
yeah.
So babe quickly pays him. And I'm like, thank you, Lord. Like, it's just like a miracle. Like, all these blessings. Like, God has just been so good.
Yeah.
And we've just been like lacking faith all this time, and He's never let us down once.
Yeah. I mean, my faith was really consistent until that last
Mine
day.
Wavered.
Yeah, because I just felt like the
Mine
Lord,
wavered.
the
I'll
Lord
be
had
honest.
already told me
Yeah.
that it was going to be taken care of, and it was such a strong feeling of peace in my heart about this whole situation. But it was just when it didn't go the way I expected it last minute, that's when I was just like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Like, I got all upset. So
yeah, it's just a crazy testimony.
Yeah.
But we wanted to share with you guys because it literally taught us a huge lesson that not everything will be smooth sailing if it's from the Lord. Yeah. Don't let people fool you. That Bible verse is very clear. Psalm 34:19. Yeah, many afflictions will come upon us.
Sometimes, I would say many times too, you really got to fight for what you want.
Fight.
And your faith is backed by action.
Yeah.
Like, your faith is backed by you moving out in faith.
Yeah,
like, you really can't have faith unless you're moving out into the storm. Like, that's not faith. When everything's easy, it's not really faith.
We could have easily turned back. My faith was at the ground.
I was trying to turn back.
I wanted to go back. I'm like, I'm not going to Texas if we don't have a house. Like, we can't afford this trip if we don't have a house.
Yeah.
And my dad and him were like, no, this is forward. And we just kept driving out of faith and not knowing if we were going to be homeless.
Her dad doesn't really speak English. Like, he speaks some English, but not a lot.
Very
but I just kept looking at him. I was like, this is no problem for God. And he said, I know.
And my dad, mind you, he was trying to be tough too, but he just admitted to me not too long ago. He's like, my faith was tested too.
Really?
Oh, yeah. He was like, I was scared at one point because I saw you and your husband and us homeless for a second there.
That would have been interesting. But yeah, we're going to end this video here because it's already really long. But we just wanted to share with you guys kind of what's been going on, why we haven't been on YouTube, because it's just been so much going on.
So much.
Leading up to this move, then moving, and then trying to recoup and relax a little bit and get our energy back. So I just looked at Jesse this morning and I was like, hey, we need to get this video done.
And give God all the glory.
Yeah.
Because all this is Him.
Yeah. But we're going to start trying to film again more regularly. We just talked about it. We're a little more rested now.
Yeah.
We're a little more settled in. We love Texas.
We love
our home. We love the area. I'm next to my brother and my sister-in-law and their kids, and we're just thrilled to be here.
We have family here.
Yeah, we got family. Jesse's able to nest and work on the baby's room. So we're just so grateful and thankful to the Lord. Like, I just look around and I'm just like, man, Lord, like, I'm so grateful to be here. And I know you've got a plan for us. And I know that it might not be easy, whatever's coming, but it's just, I know you're gonna take care of it just like you did. It might not be how we think you're gonna take care of it. It might not be in the timing we think, but we know you're gonna take care of it, and you're gonna make the impossible happen just like you did here. So just keep praying for us, that the Lord would lead us and guide us and direct us.
To a church, to everything.
Yeah, to a new church, to just figuring out what I'm gonna do as far as work goes and ministry goes, because I would love to get involved in more ministry work here. And that's my goal, is to work in ministry. And so I know God has us here. This whole story, how he got us here, was undeniably him. Everything that happened to get us here. So I have no doubt we're supposed to be here. Just please pray that he would reveal that direction to us and lead us, and we would be faithful to walk through the doors that he's opened.
Please pray for us, guys, and we're always praying for you. I know I'm always praying for you guys, and if I don't respond to your comments in my channel or in his, or he doesn't respond, don't take it personal.
Yeah.
We've just been so busy.
So busy.
So please pray for us. We're going to be praying for you guys, and yeah, that's pretty much it. We wanted to share with you guys.
And thank you again to all of you guys too. Helped us, taken care of us, provided for us on our channel, just donated to us. We couldn't be here without you guys, so thank you again so much.
Thank you guys, and we'll see you in our next video.
Bye.
Bye.